Sales executives have different data needs than sales managers or sales reps. The focus is on the strategic rather than the tactical. It's big picture things like plan effectiveness rather than salesperson performance. Are our plans paying out with the right distribution? Are we skewed to the right versus target and over rewarding, or maybe we have too easy to achieve sales targets? Or are we skewed to the left and have the opposite problem, or maybe our targets are too aggressive and need to be adjusted? Are our activities focused in the right way? Are we hitting our margin targets overall? In the big picture, are we rewarding the right behavior from our sales reps in our territories? So we're rewarding growth, not just having large accounts. I can identify these types of trends in the data by just glancing at my dashboard report. Additionally, if I want to look at geographic distributions of very large data sets, we can use clustering to represent things like where our partners are located. So I can zoom into the US and identify that most of our partners are in the Northeast, and keep zooming in to resolve them at greater and greater detail. An aggregate reporting is also available. So if I don't care so much about the clustering, but maybe just the geographic performance overall, what states are bringing in the most of our business through the partner channel as an example. If I also need to be able to manage to a budget though, so I have budget analysis reporting that allows me to look at things like my actual results versus my target, or how that matches to our real sales numbers. Whether that's at the aggregate level for maybe national performance, or down to region or district level, I can zoom from the high down to the detail. But what we've found is that no matter how many reports an executive or a leader has to look at, there comes a time where the reports end, but the questions don't. So we have tools that allow those users to go in and perform their own analytics on the fly dynamically. So here we can see, a large data set of maybe sales performance information, but I want to be able to mine this. So I have my cost and my revenue information for my sales, but I really want to do some margin analysis. So we can use our analytics tools to allow users to build their own formulas. So I'm going to create a margin field that takes my revenue value, subtracts out my cost, creates a new field, it's a currency field, and I'm going to add that to my data set so I can do some analysis. Now what I want to see is my total margin by sales reps. Who's performing better, who's performing worse? So I'm going to add a visualization and simply select those attributes. So for each employee, I want to look at their margin, and I want to look at the total margin that they're bringing into the organization. So I'm adding a chart to this underlying data. I can now very easily see that Bob Fisher is bringing in a heck of a lot more margin than my other sales reps. Why? Well, we can dig deeper into the data through the analytical tool to start answering that question. So I want to look specifically at what Bob is doing. So I'm going to filter for Bob Fisher. And now my current graph doesn't have much meaning because I'm only looking at Bob's data. So I'm going to change my visualization to look at maybe the products Bob is selling rather than just his specific information. So now we can see that Bob is selling server cases a lot more than any of the other products. Is that a trend? Is that something Bob only is doing? I don't know. So I'm going to take my filter off. And when I do that, we can now see that overall we're not selling many server cases at all. So maybe there really is something Bob's doing differently from the other reps. Well, we can answer that question in greater detail by using one of the other analytic tools. Let's do some comparisons between sales of a product and our actual employees. So now I'm looking at a grid-based analytics tool, more like a pivot table in Excel. So I can look at my employees versus my product sales, and then add some filters here. So I'm really only interested in looking at those server cases. So I'm going to look at all of our server case sales by rep and put a chart on this. So now I can do a side-by-side comparison and see that yes, Bob really is doing something that other people aren't. Let me talk to Bob's sales leader, find out what he's doing. Let me talk to Bob, find out what he's doing. And now I can have my sales organization leverage Bob's good behaviors and techniques to bring more margin in across the entire company.